Hickok 45 here, the home of, guess what, lots of vets. And today is Veterans Day. So yes, we're in the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee, and we honor all the vets from Tennessee and elsewhere because it is Veterans Day. I don't know when you'll see this. You probably don't either, but it is Veterans Day as I sit here. And I wonder, and we thank them for everything they have done, so that we can sit here and be relaxed and enjoy whatever we want to enjoy, firearms, a picnic, or whatever, and not be in great fear of many things, really, other than things we make up and conjure up and our own fiction, right? We're all capable of being paranoid and being fearful of everything, of course. Nothing's ever right? We have it pretty good, so that enhances the opportunities for creative misery, I guess you'd say, depression, fearfulness. But we don't have a lot to be actually afraid of. We're a little concerned about our own government sometimes, right? But anyway, we applaud all you folks that served and just appreciate it. And I wonder if many of them alive today of you all served with one of these. Springfield Trapdoor carbine. Well, if you did, and I'm going to do something unusual, I'm going to fire to start off by shooting the breeze. I don't do that very much, do I? I thought on Veterans Day I would. I'd actually fire a big old 45-70 into a dead tree, and to celebrate and to thank you veterans. How's that? Yeah, if any of you are still here who served with this rifle, I'd better speak up because you can probably barely hear, right? Well, I don't think there's any of them around. There's barely any World War II vets around, unfortunately. My dad being one of them. He passed in the 90s. But, so yeah, Dad was in, I've told this story before a little bit. I mean, not a big story, but my father served in World War II. He was at D-Day, Utah Beach and everything. And, didn't tell a lot of war stories. Those guys didn't. But came back and were pretty quiet about it. Of course, I was a dumb kid. Well, I was not even born when he came back, of course. But didn't talk a lot about it. In later years, a little bit. And kept kind of now I've got the information where he was, what month and days, and just different things. A notebook of all that. And he passed on to me. But glad you all are here. While I'm on that topic, one of the interesting, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, one of the interesting things about my childhood, and I really took it for granted or didn't even think that much about it, just like we all do. Whatever your life is like, that's sort of just normal for you, right? And all the guys in his unit would get together on July 4th weekend, come from all around the country. And they would generally come back to our neck of the woods because a lot of them were from Tennessee and Kentucky, Ohio, the area, Michigan, just wherever. And so even if they were from California or wherever, Maine, they would come to kind of middle America, Kentucky, Tennessee. I know sometimes we'd come down to Clinton, Knoxville area around Tennessee, and then often it was up in Kentucky, northern Kentucky, where they would congregate and meet there. Sometimes a couple of them would stay at our house, but they'd mostly get motels and then just come and would have like big dinners and barbecues in the yard and at various people's places. And it was just this part of my youth. Every summer I kind of looked forward to it because it was a massive guys and their families. So it was pretty huge, and it was just something that it went on for, it seemed like longer than a weekend. Maybe it wasn't, but 4 or 5 days. And it's kind of neat. I got to know all those guys, and they were always, picking at me because I was 4 years old or 5 years old or 10 years old or 15, whatever. And I remember names, and just some of them were down in Tennessee. And one of Dad's best friends was from over in East Tennessee. He always talked about him. And but anyway, he got a picture of him, the two of them on Utah Beach like 2 days after the invasion, I guess, in front of their little tent headquarters or whatever. But it was a truck company, and they transported troops in and out, in and out, back to the hospital, into the beach, and back to the hospitals, and this whatever. And then there on that day or that time period, and then trucks, literally trucks, amphibious units or whatever. But they were a close-knit group of folks. They really were. Had a good time, drank a few beers. So it was an interesting part of my youth. But of course, gradually, it would dwindle. And I remember when it was in the 80s when I got into computers, early 80s, and was doing things with spreadsheets and databases and things. I saw Dad. He was responsible at some point for keeping track of all of them and their addresses and like sending out notices and that kind of thing. And he had this long, several pages of documents of all those vets that served with him, and phone numbers, addresses, and everything. He kept up to date, and he had it on a paper and typed. He would type a little bit laboriously, and kept it on, just typed it, of course. And I offered to put it on disk for him, put it on a computer. At that time, it would have been Apple II or Macintosh. I think Macintosh maybe by the time I was doing that, 84, 85 for him. And I remember typing all that up and saving it. I told him, well, I could put this on a computer and you just update it. You have to retype it and all the mess you have to do. White out, in the old days of white out to correct things and update things. And so I did. I remember when I was doing it, because beside a lot of them, there was a category for deceased. And even in the 80s, there were a fair number of them deceased. And I remember as I was filling that out and updating that and entering it, I said, one day that's going to be Dad, that beside his name. And of course, it was 94. But anyway, a lot of people, there's a bond there that, that if you haven't served, which I have not, we can't really relate to and have gone through what they went through. Closest I get to it is just, whatever, some employment or sports teams I've played on where you all have a common cause, a goal, and everything. But when you're in harm's way, really in harm's way, and you're being bombed or shot at, and all that kind of thing, for weeks and weeks, months and months, nobody can really relate to that unless you've been through it, So we don't know what we don't know, one of those deals. But it was interesting in how that all dwindled. I recall it hadn't been all that long ago. They quit doing it. Well, once Dad died, Mom didn't. She went a few years to it, but not too many more years. Depending on where it was, there was much travel and everything. But I remember the last couple I went to, a couple of them, Nashville, in fact, maybe in the last one, and there were like 3 or 4 people, even at that time in the 90s. But it was kind of neat to see some of them. They got really old, and the ones that were left, and like I say, I'd gotten to know them over the years. But anyway, Veterans Day reminded me of that. So, yep, no vets around that carried this carbine. I'm sure of that. This is, I got this out because I've had this a long time, not since, the 1870s or 1880s, when it was made. This was made 1879, this rifle. But I've had it a long time, I guess about 48 hours. Really. I got this in Tulsa, the gun show. So that's what I've been up to. I've been being bad again, did a little trading, and went to the Wanamaker show in Tulsa. And many of you are familiar with that. You've heard me talk about it. It's the biggest gun show in the world, and it really is. I mean, you could talk about like SHOT Show or the NRA meeting, the gun show that takes place with the NRA meeting, and and argue about which is bigger or something, I guess. Well, it wouldn't be, the NRA meeting is probably not any bigger. The SHOT Show, you could argue, is bigger, but those are all modern guns for the most part, and this is almost the opposite. It's modern guns, but it's a lot of cool stuff, history and everything, and actually a show, part of it. Most things are for sale, but there are people who've set up with their cool collections, and different things. There's always a Ruger, at least in the fall, I guess it's in the spring show too, I forget, but there's one wall long where, Ruger, well, I don't know who sets it up. People who own the Rugers or whatever, sponsored by the Rugers Collectors Association or whatever, but kind of begins with the beginning of the Rugers and right on through, and all of them is samples of everything, and they're all just like pristine, models of various Rugers. I think there was what was it we were looking at? My buddy and I, because he's a real Ruger guy. It was serial number 43 of one of them. It was owned by somebody, and they had it up there. It was either, it wasn't a 1022, it was I don't know. It was one of their early handguns, I think. But, that kind of thing's kind of neat. So, but anyway, tables and tables of like vintage guns, whether it's Model 70 Winchesters, pre-64, or, these you might run into. And of course, it's not by design. It's not mandated. It's not like they put out the word, okay, you can set up here if you have a lot of old Springfield Sharps or something like that. It's just that it's just kind of, I guess it's in the middle of the country, Oklahoma. Is that where Tulsa is? Yeah, I think so. And so that's just the way that show has been. It's vintage military firearms. If you want an 03 Springfield, or a Garand or something like this, it's there. Many of them are there. And it's actually a great place to go if you're looking for something and you've got some money in your pocket or something to trade, and you're looking for a Garand, a Luger, an old Ruger, R with an R, not Luger, well, Luger or Ruger. You're looking for something like that, you would find it there in multiples I've talked about before. And that's the beauty of it, is you folks who collect guns, excuse me, I'm still working on my teeth, still learning to talk again. I may never learn to talk again, but it's a great place to go because you would have a lot of choices. Whereas you might go into a gun shop and they've got, I don't know, something that you would like to have, and they've got one of them, so there's nothing else to compare it with, price-wise or anything hardly, unless you go on the internet maybe. But for example, pre-64 Winchester, lever gun, 1894, 1892, 1886, you name it, bolt action, Model 70. If you went there looking for one, determined to buy one, you better bring your lunch and you better spend the night and go ahead and take those 2 days if you can, and there'd be a bunch of them in that gigantic room, and of several acres. I forget how many acres they say it is, but I want to say 11. It can't be 11 acres. It's just a big place. But and you would, it'd be paradise for you if you're looking for something like that, because you could narrow it down, 5 or 6 of exactly what you're looking for, quite possibly. Now you might just find 2 or 3. But anyway, it's a great show, and I enjoy going. I often don't. I'm not going looking for something usually. If I haven't been for a year, I'm tempted to go. And like I wasn't looking for anything this time really, as I told my buddy. But sometimes something just speaks to me. You show me a shooter, a serious gun guy or gal, who's a bit of a collector or just really, really enjoys firearms, knows a fair amount about them, has say a wide interest like I do in a lot of different types of firearms. And if that person does not have at least one firearm in the back of his or her mind that they're thinking, I wouldn't mind having one of those if I ran across one the right price. Hey, that's just the way it is, isn't it? So anyway, this spoke to me when I saw it. In fact, I had just gotten there. Hadn't been in that hall 10 minutes. This is the way it goes. And was actually talking to a fellow I'd bought the Model 12 shotgun from a couple of years ago. And I think it's Legendary Arms. He's in Phoenix. It has a setup. Dave LaRue, I think's his name. But I was just chatting with him. And I looked down, he's got this thing. He had another one, on a rack there. And it is one of the things that's been on my radar, a carbine. Okay, I've got one I bought from a guy walking around a gun show. It's been refinished. You've seen it. Neat gun, no rear sight, and that kind of thing. Got a real steel on that thing. But this one's older, and it's pretty much all intact. And it's a carbine, not a cut down, but a real carbine. You can see it. Let me get a little closer. It's a nice example. Not necessarily, again, a museum piece, but just a beautiful firearm. And I'll take good care of it for you, and I will shoot it. You know, again, I'm the curator of this particular firearm for a while, and I will show it. That's my job. That's what you pay me the big bucks for, to show you the firearms, talk about them, give you a little history, show how they work, and shoot some stuff with them. And I'll take good care of them. And yep, 20 years, whatever, 30, 5, 10, 1 month, who knows how long we're all going to live. Somebody else will have it, and you know, it's their job to be the curator. But right now, I'm the curator, and glad to have it. So anyway, so that's a good show. It really is. It's just neat. And speaking of the devil, of course, a lot of you sitting there watching this, or driving along watching it on your phone, risking an accident that you shouldn't be doing. You saw me. I saw you. I met you. You got some ugly picture of me on your phone, right? So anyways, good to see all of you over there. And as I always say, don't ever hesitate to say hi. And that works out great. It's good to say hi to you. And then we all continue slobbering all over firearms and moving on. So anyway, it was a great show. Enjoy. It's a long drive. Oh my gosh. It's like 9 hours, I guess, you know, from where I sit, or more. So it's not easy to get to. It definitely involves a night, at least one night in a motel. Really ought to make it a 3-day trip, you know, because it's so much driving. It's pretty cool. Saw a lot of you there. Saw lots of cool people. Met the buyer from Bud's, actually, is a gun nut too. Imagine that. And Brad, he's there. We had dinner and talked guns, you know, and he's always got something he's looking for, just like most of us. And a collector of firearms, loves old firearms, and it's cool. Who else did we see? Buck Taylor has been set up there in the fall with his paintings, you know, the gunsmith from Gunsmoke. Well, he's been in a lot of shows. He's in Tombstone. He's in, gosh, so many classic westerns. Great guy. Getting up there in age. I hope he's okay. But he was not there this time. I was hoping to see him again. I don't know. I guess didn't run into anybody that you would know. No celebrities. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, good show. Good show. What else? Well, I hadn't talked to you about the D.C. rally. That was cool. Now, again, we didn't do any video. People have been asking, but the videos are out there and the pictures, you know, and if you go to the Second Amendment Coalition site or whatever, it's all over Instagram, you know, well, and YouTube as well. I didn't take many pictures. I posted 1 or 2 on Instagram, I think. I could post some on Facebook. I just took a couple. We were just busy meeting you all, and good to meet you there too. Met quite a few of you. I don't know how many were there, a couple thousand is one word I heard. Man, I've been that many, I don't know. I think I met most of you. But, and you got my ugly picture on your phone too. But it was great to meet you and for you to be there, all of us to be there. It was wonderful. As I said in my little lame speech, you know, it's not easy to get there. You know, it's not cheap. It costs all of us much, you know, some time, effort, money, you know, to make that drive. Or some of you flew there, talked to some of you, my gosh, from California, from all over the country, came there. That was pretty cool. Talked to a couple of people from California that flew there. So it was a neat day. It really was. It was a beautiful day for one thing, clear, and then the Capitol is a beautiful building. And to be right there on the lawn, and to be at least trying to further the cause. I know a lot of people think that doesn't do a lot of good, and it's not the ultimate solution to just gather up whatever, 500 of us or 2,000. That it doesn't solve all of our issues, does it? But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, you know. And it's for the folks who attend, it is encouraging, inspirational, and I guess kind of like a tent meeting, or a revival for a religious sect. It keeps you inspired, and it's great for us all to get together. Kind of like a gun show in a way. One of the appeals is just being in your element. If you're an artist and you go to a show where there's a lot of paintings for sale, or artists trying to make it, or just whatever it might be, an art show, you're in your element, and people you can relate to, all involved in the same thing you're involved in. So again, I don't know how much good it does. It doesn't hurt, and unless nobody shows up. And we're never going to get 1 million people. Never going to be a 1 million man march firearms rally. That just doesn't happen. We're all so independent. We're all busy, as many people say. But a lot of great speeches. I'm not good, as I said at the end of mine, I'm not a very good cheerleader. At a rally, I'm not really a good rally speaker, and I should probably quit doing that. But I had some points I wanted to make, and I did. So, I was glad to say a few words. And most of the speeches were short. Believe it or not, I kept it to probably 5 minutes, like we were supposed to. A lot of people went over. Some went way over. I felt really good, to see that because I knew I wasn't going over. I was determined. I've done that before. And I knew I would be 5 minutes, 5.5, And, but anyway, I don't know. I enjoyed it, and John enjoyed it. We met a lot of you. We met, who all we meet? Gosh, people from all around. Rob Pincus and just tons of folks that put that thing together. Jeff Knox. One of the coolest things about it is it was not an NRA rally put together, GOA or Second Amendment Foundation or anything. It was a coalition, as was emphasized all day, of just gun owners and enthusiasts put that thing together. And the word coalition was thrown around a lot, and boy, was that the case. And that is the case now. We've learned that, I think, while we hope to get as much help as we can from all the gun rights group, even the NRA, to get their act back together. And I'm sure they're doing some great things as I speak. We don't want to write them off, but we just hope they get things together better. But this was more of a grassroots, and lots of people of differing opinions even on how to do things, maybe the most effective way. And that's just the way of the world. That word coalition, look it up. You got people kind of like in war, differing countries that really have lots of differences. Maybe they even are enemies of each other to some extent. But when the big bear comes after all of us, we get together and we put aside our differences and we fight for the common cause, sort of thing. But coalition is really a good description, and really of all gun owners. I can't think of a better term to describe gun owners, because we are an independent sort in a lot of ways. We all are opinionated, and about, oh my gosh, what the proper approach is, what the best guns are, and of course, because guns are so mainstream, you also get all the usual stuff you do with any mainstream group. People are people. There's going to be some bigots in the group. You show me a group of 100 million people, there's going to be some bigots, right? There's going to be some idiots. There's going to be some really shallow people. There's going to be some obnoxious people, and they're going to have power, to maybe even a little bit. They're even going to have a little bit of a voice. Everybody's got a voice on the internet. Look around, right? There's a lot of idiots on the internet. I mean, so coalition is a really appropriate term. People who don't necessarily agree with each other coming together for the common cause, the common enemy, which unfortunately is our people. It doesn't sound good, does it? But people in our political system, our government sometimes, are people that are really the enemy of freedom. Who knew? The enemy of gun rights. So that was great, and a lot of the speeches reflected that. It's just, man, talk about a diverse group. Here I go. I won't talk about it too much because I'm bad about names, but there were several. Oh boy. Of course, unlike, I think, the gun banners who think that diversity is based on what you look like, skin color or something, gender, height, shoe size, whatever. To me, real diversity is diversity of thought, not to diminish the issues with any group or color or nationality or whatever, but we need more diversity of thought when we talk about diversity. And so if you have that, then you really need to think about it as a coalition. We have people within the firearms rights community who disagree with each other, and that's okay, but we still need to fight against that common enemy, and we need less divisiveness only within our own group. It's so easy to be divisive. It's so easy to be defensive, obnoxious, and try to get attention. I mean, that's the way it is in any group. We all want attention, and you can get that by being out there, by having a contrary opinion, being contrarian on something, And it's hard to know whether somebody really legitimately down deep has some intelligent thoughts and ideas that are just contrarian, and they want to get them out there, and they have deep feelings about them. It's hard to know, separate sometimes, differentiate that person who's actually sensible and intelligent from the shallow idiot out there who is being that way just to get attention, just to get clicks, just to seem relevant or something, So it is hard to differentiate sometimes. I mean, after a little time passes, we all figure that out, right? But it's still, so, it's messy. Freedom is messy. It is, And as we all know, but the coalition was great. There was a fellow, Chris, I think, from San Francisco. I can't think of his last name. I thought he made some wonderful points about how. I don't want me to say something incorrectly here, but he talked about, and these speeches are out there. You can find them. He made the point. I thought it was a great point because it was based on his experience. He was a gay fellow. How he's a gun guy, and how in the what he referred to it as, but he called it the liberal or the far left community or whatever, in the gay community, the part of it that would be the gun banners, put it that way, that if he mentions guns and talks about firearms or lets somebody or them realize he is a gun guy and shoots, that he is shunned by that community, what would be kind of his own community, so to speak. But in the firearms community, if he talks about being gay, he is not shunned. That was a great point. Great point. It speaks to the closed-mindedness of a lot of groups and a lot of people. And that was a great point. As he said it, I thought, and applauded. But I thought, that is great. And that there's a lot of truth in what you just said, and it's your experience. On the other hand, there's some Neanderthals and rednecks, in the firearms community, So, he would admit that too. I'm sure everybody is not open-minded, but by and large, probably more than from the gun banning community. But anyway, that was kind of the tenor of the day. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it. I really did. It was a good reminder. Even the people who put that thing together, there's diversity in the opinions about how to do things, and of the people there, the speakers, not necessarily agreeing on everything, the folks standing in the crowd, all the attendees, a diverse group. That's just the way we gun owners are. But we've got to put all that aside as much as we can. Because it doesn't matter if you disagree with me. It doesn't matter if I disagree with you. It doesn't matter. I don't have to live with you, Bill. I see you out there at your computer. I don't have to live with you, do I, Bill? The fact you got greasy cheese and stuff all over your fingers because you're eating pizza and typing and everything doesn't bother me. You're not going to get that on my computer. You're not in my house. So it's okay if you're different from me, right? If you're a slob, it's fine. You can be a slob, it's all right. But we got to fight together for our rights and keep that going, don't we? So anyway, it was great to meet a lot of you in Washington and in Tulsa. So I had a couple of long drives this week. But it's worth it. It was really worth it. So it was also worth picking this thing up. Trapdoor, again, made in 1879. This was the military rifle from 1873, really, when it was invented. The 4570 was the cartridge. I dumped mine out. Yeah, I've got it. Do I have another one? The 4570 came along in 1873 for this rifle. It was chambered in it. Yeah, I've got another one. 1873, good old 4570. And in this rifle together, it's why you've seen our video, 1873, big year. The Colt single action, the 45 Colt cartridge for it, this gun, and this cartridge. I misspoke. I'm sorry. The 1873, excuse me, was chambered in the 4440. Okay, not 45. Well, I didn't say I did. That's right. I said the Colt single action, I guess. The Colt single action came along that year, chambered in 45 Colt. The 1873 Winchester came along, and it was chambered that year. It was chambered in a new cartridge, 4440 that year. It was a very big year. Okay, very big year. It's just that now, if all the remakes of the 1873 Winchester, the Birdies, and whoever makes them, they are chambered in 45 Colt quite often. You know, even though they were not at the time. The smaller rim didn't cycle quite as well. So anyway, this is cool. You know, I like historical firearms, like my AR-15s and my polymer pistols, but there's just something special about these babies. No doubt about it. I mean, they're just beautiful. Boom. So anyway, let's see what else. Oh yeah, something that happened recently. I got a call. Got my Webley back. Many of you have been asking for us to do a Webley. John got me one last Christmas, and the cam on the hinge broke right away. Gun shop, Franklin Gun Shop, rebought it. Made good on that. Then they had to, their gunsmith had to make a new one, had to make a piece, just not one available, you know. And so I got it back. They got that put together, and it seems all right. So we'll be firing it. I haven't fired it yet, but it seems to work. Got the hands like a Schofield, the old Webley Mark 6 is what it is. And got some ammo. Had ammo, you know, last year, a year ago. So I'm anxious to try it out and do a video with that. So that'll be fun. And I can't wait. I can't wait, tell you the truth. Boom. Got the Hellcat. You know, oh, I don't think I told you that either. To talk about guns a little bit. I bought a Hellcat. Got it in my pocket holster. And it's hot. Got my own. See, I got it all gripped up. And I generally don't put the Talon grips on a firearm that we just are borrowing for review. Although I think I put some or something on that one, didn't I? No, I did. No, I did that to a different firearm. Okay, you'll see. Unless it's just important to do because I just need to. There was a, I forgot what it was now. It'll come to me. But there was a pistol that I was comparing. And I knew I'd be comparing it unfavorably, and I'd be bashing it because the grip was small and everything, and if I didn't do something to it. So sometimes I'll do that if I'm going to be doing some comparison, because I don't want to just continually bash the grip on one, and it's really only because it's a little small for me, a little slippery or something, and I've got the other one all dressed up the way I need it, you know, with Talon grips or maybe 2 layers or whatever it is, and it feels great, and I can shoot it great. But I can't shoot this other one very well, and maybe it's because the grip's not right. So I just, even though they peel off fine, they don't leave residue really. I typically don't do that on a firearm I'm reviewing. I want you to see it as it comes out of the box, you know, generally speaking. And yeah, so I don't know how this one came out of the box. Do you have any idea? Other guns also got a. Let's see, we'll be doing the Webley. We're coming up on some bad weather, so I don't know how long it'll take. That's why we keep some videos in the can. Got a 350 Legend, that's right, and the CMMG AR. Yeah, it's AR-15 CMMG chambered in 350 Legend. I just wanted to try that cartridge. Kind of an interesting cartridge, right? it's available in some bolt action guns too. I just picked up about an hour ago a Ruger Scout rifle in 450 Bushmaster. Let's shoot that. I've got some. I've got ammo. Got ammo, and so you get something else I haven't shot that thing in. So that's a neat cartridge. So I like big bore stuff. Don't I like 45, 70. Let's see what else. Got a Desert Eagle in 1911 version that we've not done anything with. So there's just so many guns in so little time, and you know, we're real streaky, as you noticed. We'll do a bunch of new guns one month, and then we'll do old guns. It just kind of depends on, I don't know, what's coming out, our mood, you know, the weather, and then also the posting order and everything else, you know. Let me tell you one thing I'm thinking about, and I haven't forgotten that idea of the alternative channel. Many of you have had some great ideas for me, and if I do that, I think I'm even going to use one of your suggestions for a title for that channel. So that's still in the back of my mind too. But something on the main channel, thinking about it, and I've entertained this notion several times through the years and haven't done it, and I'm still thinking about it more seriously now. And that is something I just said reminded me of it. Oh yeah, posting order, various guns. And that is kind of a weekly show kind of thing, or a weekly video. Hey, God, you already do weekly videos. You 3 a week, you know, whatever. Yeah, we do. But we could have made them anytime. Could have made them the day before or a month before, you know. And again, for new people, the reason we do that is, or we have a video that you might say, oh, wow, different weather in that video. When did you do that video? It might have been a month ago, or longer, or shorter, whatever. We do videos when we can. What if an entire week is just beautiful weather? And John's available, I'm available. We got several guns we want to do. We may do several videos, you know. We're not going to just post them because we did them that week. Oh, let's post 8 videos this week, you know. No need to do that any more than on a week when the weather's terrible and whatever, or John's out of town or I'm out of pocket, other than on that week not posting anything because we didn't do any videos, you see. So there's a method in our madness, right? So kind of keep it on even keel. And then also, as I've said before, to offer variety, you know, in the thing. If I don't know, we don't always do that, but if the last video was an AR-15 video, the next video is probably not going to be an AR-15 video. You know, maybe it's something like this. It's a little variety. We have, and that's for you all. It wouldn't matter to me, but we have viewers of all ilk. Speaking of coalition, yeah, I think it's one reason the channel grew like it did. Is it couldn't be my good looks, but it's because of my eclectic interest, firearms interest. You know, I enjoy this firearm, man, as much as any firearm out there, as much as any AR-15. But then again, I enjoy a fine AR-15 or a wonderful 9mm polymer pistol, as you know, they're just fun to shoot and great, you know, reliable pistol. I just love, or a Hellcat or a P365. These are just great guns, and I enjoy shooting them and talking about them and showing them. And a muzzle loader, you know. So I like all sorts, and we have viewers, you know, who are maybe not quite as eclectic as I am. We've got viewers who just like muzzle loaders primarily. They may watch some of the other videos, or even all of them, just because I'm so handsome. But you know, so anyway, we like to keep the variety, you know, going. Since there is variety in the bank, and there is going to be variety in what we shoot and what we do, we might as well post it, you know, kind of in that format, you know, to some extent. So anyway, so yeah, because you know, one day I'm a FUD, and the next day I'm tactical, right? And there you go. Oh man, there's some terms that go around the firearms community. Again, rewind, like I was saying earlier. You know, there's a lot of diversity in the firearms community, and there is some idiocy. There going to be bigots in the firearms community like there are in name another community, whatever it is. If it's physicians, uh, post office workers, police, I mean teachers, whatever it is, you're going to have a segment. It might be a very, very small segment, hopefully, which can always seem bigger on the internet, right, than it really is. We have learned social media, but you're going to have it, so it's almost not worth talking about, right? But still, I don't know, I guess there's one side of me that gosh, can't we just stamp that out, Again, we've got such not an enemy, we've got an obstacle out there. We have a force that we're always dealing with. The gun banners, it's whether they're in government or not, or groups or whatever it is, there's a force that wants us not to even own these, okay? They have stated that. They want to take even these away, and they would in a heartbeat if they could. And so I think that's why that strikes me as more important than it really is. But the people that just, because you like different firearms than them, you're an idiot, or you're a FUD, or you're whatever you are. It'd be like me. I don't know which. I mean, I get called a FUD sometimes. I don't know what category you fit in when you like all guns. I guess it's hard to fit. I guess you have your choice. If you're a bigot, if you're a gun bigot, or you're a shallow thinker, and you see someone who likes all kinds of firearms, well, then you've got your option. You can call them whatever you want to. If you just want to get attention or hate on somebody, because I could be also called a mall ninja, because, man, I've got some cool guns. You've seen them, right? And I shoot a lot of cool guns that a mall ninja would like, or Mr. Tactical. So you could hammer me however you wanted to. But people just hammer people too much. And one of my I'm off on all topics there, aren't I? But that's why I do these. I don't have to organize my thoughts like I ever would anyway. I use the term sometimes bigotry on people, and it may not be as extreme, but I see it. I turn things around on people sometimes. You see it in comments. I guess it's a teacher in me. I just want to remind them of their thinking. They don't seem to realize how inconsistent they might be. They might be good folks, and you don't know who's leaving comments, of course, but they might be really good folks. But when you come down on a certain group of people, what's the difference? That's some form of bigotry, right? If you, like now there's this, it's so cool to call somebody a boomer, or to diminish somebody because they're either a millennial or because they're a boomer, And of course, there's lots of ways you can diminish people by their group, because they're female, because they're of a certain color or race, right? Sexual orientation. How else do we divide? There's a long list of ways we divide people. They're Jewish, or they're Christian, or they're whatever, the religion you don't agree with. They're a color you don't like. They're a religion you don't like. They're an age you don't like. They're whatever. Maybe because you know some people in that age group, that color group, that religious group that you don't like. So you just blast everybody, and so I mean that's what bigotry is, folks. If that's something that you're guilty of, and not many of you. But anyway, when you go through like this, okay, boomer, and you say, oh my God, I've answered a couple of people. I said, all right, so you go around just grouping people, huh? Yeah. So for you to call somebody is like, okay, millennial, that's derogatory. It's negative. So I'm stating really that millennials are idiots, or boomers are idiots, or I'm blaming them for something. I don't know the person I'm answering. I don't know them, maybe. Are all millennials whatever? What do they get the rap for being? I don't know what lazy or spoiled or something. Whatever the rap is on millennials. Are all millennials like that? No. And then what's the rap on boomers? I don't know what the rap is on boomers. I guess some people are blaming baby boomers for the economy that doesn't work for them or something. I don't know what they're blaming baby boomers for, but I'm sure it's something in their mind. And so Are all baby boomers responsible for whatever evils it is that you don't like about society? I don't know. People, we all need to look at ourselves. We're all responsible for whatever our situation is. It's not other people, generally speaking, is it? But anyway, what is the big difference? Taking a group of people and broad brushing that because of maybe a specific person within that group that you don't like or they've done something you think in your mind. Yeah. So all that is just divisive. It really is. So I hate to see it. It's part of culture, but I hate to see it in the firearms community, I guess is what I'm trying to say, And a lot of people don't realize what they're doing, I think. They as I've said before, people who wouldn't dare utter a racial slur, and just think it's atrocious that anybody could be racist. It's like, they don't even want to be in the same county with somebody who might be racist or even utter a racist word or something or a phrase or say anything that could even be remotely interpreted as racist. They don't want to be in the same state with that person. That's the lowest human being on the planet in their mind. Well, that might be the very same person that throws out these other terms, and it's like, oh, it's okay to make fun of this group. It's okay to be derogatory about this entire group of people, whether it's based on age, gender, again, you name it, whatever, my nationality, color, whatever you want to throw out there. Anyway, just, think about consistency. I guess I'm preaching, I'm sorry, but, you younger folks, you haven't thought about maybe some of this, think about it. Think about it. Don't judge anybody. How about not judging anybody? And again, I think I'm a little overly sensitive maybe about when I see that, not personally myself. Hey, I'm an old guy. I've been called everything, and people make fun of me all the time. You think that bothers me? I know who I am. I've pretty well established a record of myself all the way through my life. Not perfect, but I know who I am. But just making fun of people. Oh man, I just lost a great point I was going to make. I know what I was going to say. I especially, almost am hurt. Let me put it that way. I'm not hurt, but I could be if I thought about it too much or bothered a little bit, because I have made it a point as a teacher, for 29 years, in my career, to avoid that with young people, and not to judge young people, because I've spent so much time with young people, and just like every other group, I know that all young people are not clueless. They're not lazy, or they're whatever, shallow, whatever term you want to use. My gosh, I taught middle school for a long time. Half of those kids were smarter than I am. And I mean, I was telling a friend of mine how I would let some of them come up and teach class and do different segments and things. They were so good, and I mean, they're just impressive. And, so I made it a point not to do that. And so with young people, and so it's weird to see, I'm assuming it's usually young people, picking on baby boomers or whatever group, old people, or saying things. And there are people who leave a comment on a video about this old guy or old dad, that kind of stuff. And it's, I would never say something like that, about young people. So I know it sounds like I'm sensitive. I'm really not. I'm approaching this and even talking about it just from a kind of an educational point of view, or just fatherly advice kind of thing, that think about what you say, think about what you say, and think about what group it is that you're making fun of, what group you're making fun of, and what's the next group that you're going to make fun of. I left a comment with one guy, said something like that about age, and I said, well, that's interesting. It'd be interesting to follow you around all day long. I guess you would be saying similar things about women, or young people, or black people, or Jewish people. Is that right? Is that your life? Is that what you do? And they would probably say, of course not. you know, so we don't realize what we do. So anyway, here I am, instead of giving gun advice, giving life advice, right? So don't take too much life advice from me, but still, it's my show. It's my camera. I get to say stuff like this if I want to. So, no, I really do feel like I've been around a while, and you know, you don't have to listen. Like I said, I've even reset all these videos so that they're not mandatory. So you can even click out of them. You don't even have to click on them to open them. You know, so I don't feel so guilty about saying stupid things or getting off topic because you don't have to watch them. You know. So anyway, let's all worry about ourselves and not stereotype and spend all of our time hammering people in groups or whatever, unless they deserve it for real. Yep, we do group the gun banners, don't we? And they are not necessarily liberals. All liberals are not gun banners. All people on the left politically are not gun banners. Maybe a lot of them are, but they're all not. You know, they're all not. Again, one of the things that helps me stay in line is having such a huge following on the channel and hearing from so many people. Because I hear daily. Some of you never hear this or see it maybe. You don't even read comments for your own sanity's sake, right? Probably a smart move. But I hear from people all the time who claim to be liberal or far left politically or Democrats and everything. And this has been going on for 10 years, who love guns for the Second Amendment. Now, I know with some of you, well, it doesn't compute or whatever, but it's just a fact of life. And then a lot of us, as I said in my speech, we have to be careful. We're alienating people. There's no need to alienate large groups of people. One of the things I said was that we need to get the Second Amendment, focus away from party politics and religion, specific religion, because all we're doing, it's not me that does that, but it's what we're doing as gun rights movement is we're alienating a lot of people who like guns. Duh. Everything doesn't have to be a political rally for Republicans, or libertarians or Democrats, or a religious tent meeting, because so many people are turned off by all of that, right? Many of you're turned off by it, and so am I. So anyway, that was one of the points I made, and I said some things like that probably didn't fly so well with a lot of people, but that's okay. One advantage of getting older is, guess what? You may not get really, really wise. You don't necessarily get a lot wiser with age. Think about it. You probably know some pretty stupid people who are old. Some people just get more closed-minded and dumber. That might be me. But one thing that does happen is you care less about what people think. You really do. I mean, think about old folks, So that can be dangerous or it can be good. But it's a good place to be because I'm not running for office, So, I don't have to worry too much. But my main drive, John and our main drive is, for the channel, aside from a little, hopefully, useful philosophy, fatherly advice, is for the Second Amendment. And so that I do care deeply about, and I don't want to alienate people at all. And I don't infer that I'm nice to people or I'm nice to people who are Democrats or whatever, because I think it's only because I think it's good for the Second Amendment as well. That's not the case for me. If that's the case for you, fine. Put aside prejudices you have or whatever for the sake of the Second Amendment. That's not where I'm coming from. I've been kind of different my whole life, not just looks. I'm talking in the way I think about a lot of things. And so I just always had more of a tolerance for people who are different and think differently, look different, whatever. I just really, really have. And I hate to see them get hammered, and grouped up and all that kind of thing. So there's no need for that. No need for it. So let's talk a little bit more about firearms. Anything before I let you go? But anyway, like I said, I think I got off topic. Can you imagine that ever happening to me? Uh, uh, I was, yeah, I didn't really say much about that, about the new idea. Uh, yeah, I don't think I said anything about it, but quickly, been thinking about it for a while on main channel, is doing a weekly kind of a video or show, and maybe it would even take the place shooting the breeze, and maybe call it something different. But doing this on a shorter scale, uh, and just kind of catching up with you weekly. That's where I meant to be going when I was talking about posting things, they're a month before or whatever, and we don't have the continuity of a weekly show would have. And that's just the nature of YouTube. You go to videos on YouTube, anybody you like, you follow, most of them, you got to check the date and when they do this video, and randomly and all that kind of thing. And a lot of people get to the videos anyway, searching, and they don't even go to the home channel anyway, and so it's hard to know. But I'm thinking about like doing a weekly video, kind of the shooting table or wherever, because I come out at least once a week, usually more than that, and just to shoot something like this. I was shooting this before the video, and kind of tying it in with that, like that day of the week with Saturday usually, or Friday could be different, and doing like a weekly shorter video, perhaps, if that's possible for me to do a shorter video, and talk about some things and shoot whatever gun that I happen to be in the mood to shoot. It's not a gun review at all, but I talk about it a little bit. Just like I kind of did this and taking a shot, we will do a review of this and do a video on this, but whatever I did today or whatever I said about it, is kind of separate from that, because believe it or not, that's what I do. I didn't buy this property for no reason, just to make videos. I have had it for 33 years, and for all that time, at least probably twice a week, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week, I just grab a favorite firearm or something I haven't shot for a while, and I go out to the shooting table, take a few shots, or walk around the place, take a few shots. It's what I do, because you may not have noticed, but I like to shoot, and I like firearms, lots of different kinds. So, I don't know, it could be, so anyway, that was a thought. Maybe bring you in on my weekly, just one of my shooting sessions and chat with you. I've done that on a couple of shooting the breezes, sort of, the shooting table or something. And catch up with you once a week. That would be one of the benefits of it, So you would know that whatever it is, if it's Saturday at the range or whatever, Sunday or Friday, whatever it is, that's that week, okay? Well, Hickok looks kind of funny in his videos, yeah, I saw his most recent video. Well, I didn't look at the date. I guess it was the most recent video. He had a funny haircut. Yeah, well, you look at the date on that video, and it's 2 months old or something. So, no, you didn't see a recent video, That'd be good for announcements like these rallies, or we're doing a meet and greet, or things we're going to be at, things we can remind you of that, it's coming up, and that kind of thing. It's just a thought. I don't know if y'all think that would be useful. Nothing profound, but just kind of a weekly catch up and, shooting what I'm doing and bring you all in. So there's something to think about. Okay. So, because, we do announcement videos. And I forget to take them down. Probably shouldn't leave them up. If we're going to be at a meet and greet or like the rally in Washington, we put a couple of videos up about that, just, to let you know. And so they take the place of that sort of thing, too. Because you would always know to go to the Saturday or the Sunday video, whatever it is of that week, and what the heck's going on. It'd be a place where I could talk about my teeth, or my weight. I still get a lot of people, I see comments about that. So, Hickok's sick? I still see that, or what's he got in his mouth? Not a lot, but I see a few of them. And so I keep you up to date. But I do that in these, just that everybody doesn't watch them. Of course, everybody doesn't watch everything, obviously, anyway, so I don't know how much that would help. But yeah, for those who are new, and we got a lot of you, right? It varies throughout the year, by the way, but I mean, the lowest it ever is 1,000 new subscribers, on a daily basis, and it usually averages around 2,000 to 3,000. And I think the last week it's been like 5,000 a day, new subscribers. So there's certain times of year where it really gets higher. And but anyway, that's a lot of people. It probably averages, I don't know, 2,500 a day, whatever, year round, 2,000, 3,000, I don't know. But that's almost like having a new channel every few days. And so it also helps explain, why you see some comments, right? So your first reaction might be if somebody says something like, or like, hey, God, why don't you do a 44 Magnum? Why don't you do a video on a Model 29? Or why don't you do a video on a Trapdoor or something like that? You're thinking, man, where's that guy been? Or when you going to do a Glock video? So it makes people seem dumb or clueless. And they're not. They're just new. They just haven't seen those videos, And of course, again, people just kind of wander. A lot of people, I run into you all the time. You've seen a lot of videos, and you can talk about videos, and you do, and ask me about certain guns or videos. But then I'll say, well, it's like that video or that, and you haven't seen those, and they're big videos, maybe even a recent video, and you have no clue about, I didn't know you did that. So they don't go to the channel, as I do with most people, and I just go through, if it's someone I follow, I'll just go to their channel, click on videos, and I don't know, it's just me. Apparently a lot of people don't do that, but I just like to look at what they've done recently and see what I've missed, what I want to watch, or kind of pick up where I left off, just to make sure I haven't missed something, or just to, get the list chronologically, from the most recent video right on back to, the one they did 3 days ago, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And, that kind of gives me a better feel for what they've been doing recently, and even the kinds of things they do. There's probably a lot of people who don't even know what a shooting breeze is, or that they even do them, maybe. I don't know. They just have seen a lot of our gun videos, where I shoot. So it's going to be raining. I hope I don't get caught in the rain out here. I'm under some cedar trees and pine trees in case it does. But I'll have to beat foot it back to the house. About time to shut up anyway, right? Don't want to get my gun wet. It's probably not been wet since 1879, you reckon? So anyway, that's rambling again about a bunch of stupid stuff, right? Things I want to say, kind of clue you in. Everybody doesn't see these, but a lot of you do. And I really appreciate the people that follow us closely and keep up. It takes time, I realize that. And listen to my ramblings, and it's raining, because, I don't know, I just like to ramble sometimes. So, appreciate you supporting us. Again, the people that do support us, financially with products and all that kind of thing. budsgunshop.com. Who else helps us? Federal Premium helps us a lot too. The Sonoran Desert Institute, great outfit. Toweling Grips, it's great to have them on board. Been a supporter of them for so long. Same with Battlestall, been using it for 20 years. Great to have them on board. APMEX, Precious Metals. American Precious Metals Exchange stands for. Cool. Oh, while I've got you, speaking of timely videos, this is the month they're having they are one of the few companies, I guess the online companies mainly get it, and I don't know, big dealers or whatever. They get the 2020 Eagles, I guess Gold Eagles and American Eagles, two of the most collectible coins out there as far as bullion. And they're doing giveaways. It's just for a month, I believe, up through December the 9th, maybe. And I think it starts this week. So anyway, they're doing giveaways and stuff. Check out their link in our description, and see what's going on there. Again, there's something cool. There's a lot of rollover with guns and precious metals, a lot of slight coins, and the American Eagle is it is, I guess, the most popular bullion coin on the planet, whether silver or gold. And most of us can't just order a bunch of gold ones, but the silver ones aren't that much. They're cool. They're pure silver. And they run $20 or something. I don't know, a little more, depending on the price of silver. But anyway, it's neat to be affiliated with someone who's just totally unrelated, to firearms. Again, we're very, very conscious about and conscientious about not bringing anything in that's going to conflict with what we do. Yeah, because man, if we had the opportunities. And it's one reason we dropped the NRA. We didn't really see it as a major conflict because I've been a supporter for a long time. But it just gradually became more and more of a controversy and a conflict, and we didn't, well, we don't need that, you know. I'm a member, and I am planning, I am counting on them getting their act together. Really am, you know. But as someone we're like recruiting for and trying to get you to join and send money to, it just got to the point where we couldn't do that, you know. I mean, our integrity, credibility is important to us, and so we think about those things. Yeah. Some people, you might not have figured this out yet, but on the internet, do not worry a lot about their credibility or their integrity, that sort of thing. Oh man, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying the internet is the Wild West. Social media is, right? So we do what we do, and other people do what they do, and that's just fine. I just enjoy doing what we do, and we're going to continue doing it. Appreciate you coming out of the woods and not minding the rain, you know, that's starting to sprinkle some. Anything else I need to tell you before I let you go? Wish you could be here. Actually, I don't, but there's a big, beautiful pine tree behind you, and all kinds of neat things out here in the woods. It's fun talking in the woods, really. I hope nobody's hiding behind a tree listening to me. Of course, you all are listening. You're not hiding behind a tree, right? You're hiding behind a computer screen, TV screen, or whatever. So, appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the tube, shooting some firearms. It's about to get cold. Tomorrow's going to be high in the 30s this week for several days and everything. So, one reason I wanted to go ahead and have a little chat with you. I don't plan to get out in it much this week when it's that cold. It'll warm up a little bit, though, later. So, what else is coming up in the near future? It's been a busy few weeks with the rally and going to Tulsa. Next big event for us is SHOT Show, in January. And there's probably something before then I'm not thinking about. So anyway, do what you can to support gun rights and get out there and shoot. Enjoy the hobby. And just behave yourself. Be safe. And it's good to talk to you. Really appreciate your support. I do. Appreciate your bearing with me on talking differently and the weight I've lost. I hope it doesn't bother you that I'm 40 pounds lighter. I'd hate for that to bother you. One last thing. The real reason I lost weight, I was at 260, and now I'm 220, 218. I lost 40 pounds so I'd be able to pack more ammo and more guns and still not get over 260. See, so I can carry 2 ARs fully loaded, 6 Glocks, and 1,000 rounds of ammo now, and still not weigh over 260, same I weighed in June. The real reason I lost weight. All right, you don't believe me, do you? You know better. Oh my gosh, gullibility, yeah. What was it? Oh yeah, in the video on the U.S. Handguns, remember? Now you better have seen that. We put a lot of work in on that. U.S. handgun, military handgun since 1776, okay? I made a comment about doing the research on these guns, and I couldn't have trouble finding anything on the guns that were adopted by the U.S. back in the 1600s, 1605. And I was real serious. I couldn't find anything on that, Oh well, and I went on with the video. Oh my gosh, you've probably seen some of the comments. There are people who think I was serious, and there were a couple of people who really took me to task. So you're a school teacher and you don't know any better. You haven't studied history anymore, and they were serious. They were serious. So that's what makes life fun. That's what makes the world go around. And there are a lot of different sorts of people. Lots of different levels of gullibility on this planet, all right? So, got my gun back in the sock. It's kind of a damp sock, so I have to dry that out and really wipe down my firearm when I get back to the house. So, you guys are great, and appreciate you watching. So, I'm going to grab my remote as if you don't see me doing it, and I'm just going to cut it off at like exactly the right moment. I won't even have to trim the end of this video, this long, boring video. Really, I won't. And you know what I'm going to say, because it's the truth. It really is. It's the truth, and y'all are part of that reason. But mostly we're all a part of our own reason, whether life is good or not, right? We pretty much make life either a mess or we make it decent, we make it excellent, we make it good. We pretty much, and most of you all are quite aware of that, you don't blame your problems on other people. So we make that ourselves. Although you all are a great help in the channel and making sure my life is good, because I get to shoot a lot of cool guns and enjoy my hobby every day of the week, basically, if I want to. So that is because of you all. You all do have a big part in that. But my life would be good anyway. It's always been good, really. Everybody has their rough spots in the road, put it that way. I've had my share of those, but we all have. Yeah, we all have. By and large, though, you know what? Life is good. See you later.